So to this topic here, and it was part of I'll tell you the results of the Snap panel poll in about 2 minutes' time. That was, do you support the Restore Rail protesters? Yes, no, why or why not? That result in about a minute's time. So let's discuss that. 2 police officers scaled a gantry above Wellington State Highway 1 in Wellington around 8:30 this morning to arrest 2 Restore passenger rail protesters who had blocked the road. It's the second protest this week occurred above the southbound lanes of State Highway 1 near Bowen Street, and the group is calling for interregional passenger train services, free public transport, action on climate change. And with us now is Jonty Coulson, who's a spokesperson for the protesters. Kia ora, Jonty.
Kia ora, Wallace. Thank you for having me. What do
you think you'll achieve from it?
Well, we want to show that there is a way out of the climate crisis. You guys talked about your Pahutakawa trees being cut down, and currently I feel like that's happening on a planetary scale. I'm 22 years old. I'm a biologist. I've spent the last 5 years of my life studying biology, and honestly, it's felt like I've been writing one massive obituary for the planet. So what we hope to achieve is just any action on climate change, and restoring passenger rail is such an easy first step.
But to what end, Jonty? People find it incredibly intrusive, incredibly disruptive. There has got to be a better way to highlight the cause than disrupting people's morning commute.
Do you know, Wallace, I really wish there was. And it's heartbreaking that it's come to this, isn't it? But we have tried everything else. We've written petitions, we've protested in front of Parliament, and it's just not getting the recognition that we need from the media and the public. So we are showing that there is hope, that people can take action and the government will respond. We've already seen a select committee recommend increased passenger rail across the country.
But many of your group are on active charges, Jonty, for endangering transport, creating a criminal nuisance by obstructing the road. Are you going to keep on and on with this line of protest?
We're going to have to, until the government takes the climate crisis seriously.
All right, we've got a poll for you soon, Jonty. Mary Margaret.
I was just thinking about when the Springbok tour happened. I know a lot of people ended up with criminal charges for protesting there as well, but many would argue that history has shown them to be on the right side. So I think absolutely.
Do you think these guys are on the right side of history?
Absolutely. I think the more that we can do to get people out of cars, into public transport, onto trains. And
even though they're endangering lives by sitting in roads?
Sometimes you have to break things to make things happen. Like, if protest outside of Parliament and petition is not getting you anywhere, time is of the essence during the climate crisis. I'm completely on the side of the protesters, absolutely.
Scott?
No. I think police have got a lot better things to be doing with their time. At the moment, the fact that we've got so much crime in the country, I'd rather them be focused on what they should be doing during the day. And then when protesters are being taken to hospital to have concrete removed, again, ED departments are too busy dealing with people who are actually sick. I'm with you, Wallace. I agree. In a sense, you could be doing this in a different way. I'm
just asking the question, Scott.
Well, I support bringing public transport up, restoring rail, absolutely. But doing the protest in this way, I think is just causing more trouble than it's actually worth.
Jonty.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought up emergency response, Scott, because whilst we have been consuming police time and resources, I think it's important to consider that last year, we had 378 people die on the roads. That's more than a person a day. So what we're looking at is huge amounts of police and hospital time and investment into responding to these crashes, which is also leading to $4.2 billion in spending yearly on emergency response. And restoring passenger rail will actually cut both those statistics. It will make it cheaper and easier to respond to road crashes. There will be less road crashes as people will be able to take a safe, sustainable alternative.
Well, do you want to respond, perhaps both to Scott and to Jonty, Mary Margaret?
Well, I think it's true that the cost of inaction when it comes to climate change is even greater than probably the cost of dealing with the protests right now. For example, emissions itself, air pollution, claims dozens and dozens of lives in New Zealand every year. And, the flood and cyclone at the beginning of the year, the price tag that has come with that, not to mention the lives lost and the heartbreak that so many communities are facing now. This is all the cost of inaction.
All right, Jonty. Well, by the way, if you've just joined us, we are talking to a spokesperson for these the protesters, Restore Rail protesters. And I asked, and it's just a snap panel poll. It's just a sort of mood of the nation, really, or mood of the panel listeners, rather, at this time. Do you support the Restore passenger rail protest? What they're doing? Yes, no, why not? Big response here. Here's one. I do not agree with the way that these protesters are protesting. They're contributing to pollution by having all that traffic idling while they're waiting. Another one here. I support them. Without the likes of these out front people, issues like this would get relegated, unimportant, irrelevant, and the issues would not be discussed on programs like this. So 70% of people listening support. 30% don't. And on that note, Jonty, good to have you on the program. Kia ora.
Thank you very much.